This is the Triple Play Fantasy Coaches Corner. We are doing 2021 NBA Mock Draft Lottery Special. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis. My buddy, Coach Kevin Coleman, over there in California. This is part of the Triple Play Fantasy franchise. And today's special, we will alternate draft picks of the top 14 lottery picks. We'll tell you who we think this team should choose and why we think that this is a great prospect, or maybe they need some development. So we're going to start with the winners of the draft, as Ben Wallace was very excited not only about getting a Hall of Fame nod, but the number one overall pick, Detroit basketball. Stand up, and you need a lot of help with that 20 and 52 finish. And you are getting a budding superstar. I have fell in love with this kid, Cade Cunningham, since I've seen him. 6'8", 220 point guard and has off-guard skills as well. And his freshman campaign, you can see the 20.1 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 3.5 assists, game winners under his belt. He averaged 1.6 steals, 0.8 blocks, so you can see his IQ defensively. He can really pull that jumper in your face. He's very methodical off of the jab step. He can fade on you. He really uses his body weight to push down smaller defenders. He plays well in the pick and roll game. You can see his intuitiveness defensively right here and in transition with that big frame. He doesn't have like major explosiveness, which is crazy, but he's crafty. He's a little Luka Doncic. He's reminded me of that ever since I've seen him. Maybe not the same passing abilities, but being able to score on all three levels. Smart. He's a pump fake champion. And I think that he's going to fit in as a superstar one on this Detroit team. You got Killian Hayes in the backcourt. You got two playmaking guards, and he's bigger. And Killian Hayes has some defensive abilities. I love all rookie team selects, and Saddiq Bey, who just looks like a perfect 3-and-D player. Isaiah Stewart, who's a huge guy, and then you slate Jeremy Grant kind of in that number 2 role as opposed to him leading the show. And you got some future here in Detroit. They're actually not an eyesore like they have been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about Cade, and I don't want to – I'm not as high on Cade as other people. I like Jalen Green more. But I would say that Cade, the one thing that I kind of get worried about is a lack of kind of elite athleticism and speed. Like, he's legit. Like, he's very solid. You say Luka because I don't think Luka has that athleticism either, right? Like, he's got the moves. He's able to kind of control things. He's elite. He's an elite guard. He knows what he's doing out there. And I think that's what the Pistons need. But to be clear for everybody out there that's watching or even listening is that we're going back and forth here on picks. He picked Cade. I would have probably swung to the fences and take my guy Jalen just because of athleticism. But I like Cade. I like what he's doing there.
Yeah, he's just a super pro. He's a leader. He looks like an NBA veteran. I just love this pick. I love him. I think that no matter who was going to get the number 1 pick, you got to go Cade Cunningham. But I understand the star potential and probably our best scorer here. And your guy's up next.
Yeah, so with the second pick, it was the Houston Rockets. As we know, they have a ton to do, 17-55, how they finished last year. They look to be in a complete tear-down, rebuild mode. So Houston's going to go there, and I think they're going to get it with this kid, Jalen Green, a young man that I actually coached against as a freshman. He dropped 40 on us. We talked about it in that coach's corner. He's one of the best pure scorers that I've ever witnessed in person. Mm-hmm. And he dominated the G League. So we're not talking about Oklahoma State. We're talking about G League, grown men playing basketball. 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5, almost 3 assists. And I think the thing that I love about Jalen as we watch his tape a little bit is just when you watch him and you watch him go, he's just super athletic, and he's gotten better as a scorer. His three-point shooting is definitely something he's still working on. It's definitely going to be going there. But his athleticism, his ability to get to the basket, and you'll see here in the G League, you saw him develop that shot. And so I think that's really good. You'll love his ability to attack here. And that's the thing I like about Jalen so much is that his ability to attack, get to the hole, shows athleticism, scores the bucket. Like, he's just going to score buckets, coach. Like, that's Jalen's going to be job is like get in the game, score buckets. And I love him. I saw somebody say he looks like Clyde out here, and I'm not going to necessarily go there yet, but his ability to kind of score just separates him. Now, he's got some stuff to work on. Passing, he does that okay. He gets it. He doesn't necessarily have that as a skill. He doesn't really. He's not a creator for his teammates, but he has shown that he has playmaking ability. But you'll notice here, he gets the free throw line well. He's a very good free throw shooter. But I think the most thing that helped him in the G League was his shooting. Like, he really improved that. I think he ran up somewhere on 36% as we've gotten better throughout the G League there. So my pick's Jalen. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a pure scorer in the league for a long time. And that's exactly what the Rockets need. He's the type of guy you build around.
He is exactly what the Rockets need, and he might not go to if, somebody else was choosing second based on fit. But they need scoring. They need a hole to fill in that James Harden role, and he could fit right in with John Wall. You got Kevin Porter Jr., you got Christian Wood. So right away, I see this kid to start. He hangs in the air forever, so I could kind of see that Clyde Drexler comparison. His hang time is unreal. He gets out in transition and he's streaky. When he sees it go in, you watch out. Next time it's going up. He saved his best for last in the G League. He had a very, very solid season. He's the first one to kind of put his name out there in the hat, but he had 30 points in their playoff game. And I was super impressed with him handling the physical nature of playing against grown men, because he does have a slight frame, but he has just the perfect model for this league's shooting guard size, and I love his star potential as far as scoring the basketball.
Hey, I'm always going to be behind a Cali boy. So shout out to Fresno, California, Jalen Green. I got to go with my Cali guys, and I just think he's going to be that pure scorer that we're going to see, like, legitimately, like Brandon Ingram type. Like, hey, he's going to be able to get to the basket, and he's going to be able to shoot, and that's what I love to see there. And for fantasy purposes, he's a great pick because they're going to put up numbers next year, Coach.
Absolutely, and they're still going to be bad. So he's going to play a lot of minutes, much like Anthony Edwards this past year. It's from one Cali guy to another, and this is the big man prospect going to the luckiest lottery team of all time, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've had the number one pick more than anyone else, but to fall in the top three and to be able to land on an Evan Mobley who could have gone number one in a lot of drafts, I love the potential here. Defensively, he has super prowess. He averaged 3 blocks a game. You see, he's 7 foot, 210, a little thin, but he'll put some size on. He averaged 16 and 9. So he's a really good rebounder. He will dunk on your head. He took his team to the Elite Eight. He put people on posters. He's got good finishing ability with his left and his right hand to be able to kind of go over smaller defenders. He moves well on his feet, and I can see him. He blocks shots in the three-point line. The kid is all over the place. He won Pac-12 Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year. So he's just cleaning up all the awards, and you can see his impact on winning as USC made quite the run in the tournament. Now, you pair him with potentially Jared Allen as he backs down his defender. That's that little hook that I just love. It's just a great touch, and he has potential to just keep growing going forward. I know they sort of play the same position, but you got to go with the best player available here. The Cleveland Cavaliers were criticized for picking 2 guards back-to-back, especially little guys, but Sexland backcourt looks like it's good potential. Okoro might now fit in a role as just a role defending small forward. But Evan Mobley, his face-up game, he's just pumping shampoo to the hoop. He's engaged. He's a lot tougher than I kind of thought he was, because he just kind of looks like he's cooling it out there. But he does have a motor, and he does have a fight, and he will stand up to anybody in the post. So give me Evan Mobley's potential, and the Cavaliers got to be excited that they got a young big man like this guy. It actually makes me question, because it's not guaranteed whether you sign Allen to that max that they were considering. Now that you have a big man on a shorter contract, and maybe they might move on from that. We'll see. It's something to watch in the summertime, but it's good to have that type of problem, right?
You're still in my thunder, Coach. That's what I was going to bring up. I'm like, hey, you don't have to take Jared Allen anymore. You got Evan Mobley, and you're going to have him on a cheaper contract. I love Mobley. I think there's a possibility where you could say Mobley deserves to be a first pick overall. Like, he's that talented. He's a unicorn.
He's better than Wiseman's potential last year. Yeah. I had him rating over him compared to last year, and Wiseman went 2.
This class compared to last year's class is just
blows him out the water. Yes,
blows him out the water. When you look at Mobley was able to do, he's fluid. jump shots. He's kind of extended that range a little bit, which would be good for him to kind of get there. He can rebound. His length is impressive. Like, I love everything about him, but like you said, his motor, like Evan Mobley's motor and his ability to drive, and he loves to just work hard on the boards. He does all the little intangible things. So as a coach, as we talk about coaching on the show a lot, everything he does just translates very well, and his game translates well because he was brought up in this era, and you can tell he's not that back down Wiseman type of big. He's that versatile. He can hit those jump shots. He can look for it. And his defense blocking, his ability to have his free throw percentage is almost 70%. 3-point percentage is at 40, but again, like he improved there. So I love Evan Mobley. I think Mobley, that's a great pick, and I think that's a great person to build around. If the Cavs got that, we could be talking about some serious Cavalier talk next year.
Absolutely. And our next pick, you're up, Kev. Toronto Raptors, the 4 pick.
Yeah. Pick 104, Toronto Raptors, which is surprising having them here. But I think this is a good for them in their franchise. They went 27-45 last year, dealt with injuries, a lot of different things going on. I think this pick's got to be Jalen Suggs, right? I am known to, Suggs is someone that I definitely have question marks about, but he played very well in the Final Four. We saw that his game winner. He averaged 14, 5, and 4. The thing about him that I like is that he's just a pure guard. Like when you watch him play, he's going to lead that team. With them moving on from Lowry, which looks pretty much done, he's going to step right in that fold with Siakam, and basically they're going to build around him. And I think that's impressive. He's very good. He finds the open floor well. He passes well. He creates for his guys. And he's got that old school solid game, right? Like he's quick in the paint. He's able to change directions and speeds very well, like when he drives. And so that's what I like about him, especially at the NBA level. He can finish. So even though he's a little bit on the smaller side in terms of what you probably want to see, I think 6'4" is still fine. I love that I say that I'm 5'7", but he extends his range a little bit. He can get to the basket. Like, there's really nothing I like. I think his toughness is good too. So him getting put on that team with the coaches that they have, with all those different groups that they have there, I think that's a perfect fit for him. I love the fit. Like, if he goes to Toronto, I think that's a great fit for Suggs.
And it was a rough year for Toronto. Expectations to make the playoff. They had been there for who knows how many years consecutively. To have to play in Tampa, I think that the fit is seamless with Fred VanVleet. So it's good to see them get a little luck. Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, you can really look at him in transition. I mean, it's just a beautiful ball player all around, and Mr. Quarterback in high school. And he is a quarterback out there. He is a great leader. He's probably the best leader of the group, and he saves his best moments for the end of the games. We saw that in the NCAA tournament. He was really good even in that championship game, but it just was too much that the Baylor had. But all year long, he was the best player on that Gonzaga basketball team. What I do love about his potential is, he's 6'4", but he's strong and he's got long arms, and he competes on that end. He's not just an offensive player. And him off the pick and roll, he is a savant, passing and creating some space on his shots. He travels a long way when he does his step back, and I think his step back jumper is going to be something that's showcased on the next level. I think he's ready for the next level right now to go up and down, and just a winner, a perfect fit there in Toronto. They got very lucky. Fred VanVleet looked very happy last night when they got the 4 pick, and I love Jalen Suggs. I've said it since day one. I even like him a little bit more than Green. That's different from Coach Kevin's opinion, but I just like him, and everything about him screams winner.
Yeah, I think defensively he's very good, and you watch him, I think he's versatile. So I want to mention that. Like, he understands angles very well. So as a coach, you see that he understands angles very well. He gets in gaps very well, but he also understands angles on the offensive side. You give him a crease, he finds it. So when you watch him to this game, this pick and roll open space game in the NBA, especially, it's going to fit him well. I don't think Jalen Suggs can go to a more perfect situation in Toronto. I don't see any other scenario here where he goes there if he's on the board.
Oh, and he's going to learn a lot. I mean, they'll probably move on from Kyle Lowry at this point, but they have some other guards there that he can learn from and play with. And we see Fred VanVleet has played very well with the Kyle Lowry. And it's great to have 2 playmaking guards. That's where this NBA is now. You're not just having a regular traditional point guard and your traditional shooting guard. You got 2 guys that can do similar things and then can defend on the other end.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got pick 105. Who you got, Coach?
The best player available. Orlando got a little lucky yesterday. Now they have 2 first-round picks, 5 and 8, and there were a top 5 certified. So no matter who had the 5 pick, it was probably going to be Kuminga because he was the odd man out. In the G League, impressive stats as far as points and rebounding concerned, 16 and 7. They leaned on him a lot. He's got great size, 6'6", 210. He's got moves. He can really get to his spot and score very well. He cuts. He's physical. He had some shooting slumps in the G League playing with some of these grown men, but to me, he was a no-brainer. Hopefully, you can get Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz back in the fold. You got Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton as potential guards going forward. The Magic need players after the Vucevic trade. You don't know who they were going to throw out there. They just need NBA pros, and this guy is going to be able to fit in and try his luck and try his hand. And they put the ball in Cole Anthony's hands. But Jonathan Kuminga has a potential to be a future All-Star in this league. He also has some concerns. His shooting percentages wasn't that great. And also, he has a little knee issues. He missed the last couple games for G League. He also had knee issues in high school. But this guy was the number 1 rated junior before he decided to move up in class and then go to the G League. And to hold his own in that league and average 16, you got to go with Jonathan Kuminga with this pick, number 5.
Yeah, I don't hate the pick. I think that's where he's supposed to go. And depending on, but it is funny, isn't it, that they're going to take a guy like this, because I feel like the Magic have taken guys like this every draft, like guys that are super uber athletic and have some question marks athletically in terms of shooting, right? Like they have not athletic marks, like he's athletic. He can finish. He's going to do everything that you need to do. He'll probably average 7 or 8 rebounds in the NBA being a big guard. He's going to be able to do that. But that's shooting question mark. Like that's the Magic, Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, these guys that they keep grabbing. It just makes me laugh. Now, does he fit around that team? I think you like the Magic a little more than I do, but at this spot, he's got to go there because I think there's a clear teardrop, right? Like, depending on what you think of Scottie Barnes, who I like, but I don't know if Scottie Barnes fits on the Magic better than Kuminga does based on talent.
Don't get me wrong, Orlando Magic suck, and that's why you got to get a guy that does have potential to score and ice one-on-one, and that's something that Scottie Barnes needs to improve, although he has, kind of all those other intangibles. Yeah. So we move on to pick 6, Oklahoma City. Was a little disappointed that they didn't fall in the top 3.
Yeah, so, Oklahoma City, 106. They went 22 and 50. I don't even know how many picks Oklahoma City has at this point. I feel like they have, 30, 35 first-round picks. They're just rebuilding here. Now, this might be a hot take, and Coach was trying to tell me not to pick this guy, and I told him, give me my pick. And this is my pick. I get to take this pick. My guy is Keon Johnson from Tennessee. So I think that when you look at him, he didn't get a ton of volume and a ton of shots at Tennessee this last year in college. He averaged 11, 3, and 2. The thing is about Johnson is that his potential is there. So when you watch him and you're watching his tape, I mean, the dunk that you just saw right there as you're watching is just phenomenal. He has an ability to get to the paint very well. He explodes at the rim. So like when I'm looking at Keon, so after that teardrop at 5, I feel like the 6th pick has got to be somebody that is just super athletic that they can build and they can go those guys. And that's got to be the Thunder, right? The Thunder are going to have to do that. They have a long time to rebuild in here. They got Shy. They have these different groups, these different pieces. Hey, let's bring in Johnson. We'll improve his shooting. His shooting does need to get improved. But when you're looking at what he can be, he's there. I saw somebody mention he's like a young Ron Artest on the defensive side too. And that's high praise. I think he's a very good two-way player. He brings them this different type of field player there at Oklahoma City. And I think that he fits the kind of their mold of what they're looking to do. So I like Johnson at the spot. I know it may be a reach, but based on athletic potential and where he's at, I would love to take this shot on him based on how their drafts have gone and with how many picks they have, right? They're going to go youth and youth and youth. So I don't mind Johnson at this spot.
And of all the picks that we're going to talk about, I think this is the guy that you say this is the potential reach.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma City is known to do that. Russell Westbrook wasn't even supposed to go drafted at number 4, I think, when he was, but he had just all the intangibles that scream like this guy, his NBA body build and his explosiveness is the most impressive thing to me, Keon Johnson wise, and the defensive abilities. You can see that it's there. He didn't start playing organized basketball till high school. So you can see that because of his offensive skills are very raw. He doesn't have much handling. He can't really go get you a bucket or whatever. You see that in like Cam Thomas. You see that in James Bouknight. But OKC, the fact that they have really like one player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you can build anything you want to around that. And it's going to be 4 or 5 years down the line when you have 18 first-round picks in the next, 7 years, which that's actually true. It's crazy, but why not gamble on somebody that has potential? So yes, I would have gone another direction, but I'm not mad at you. I think I might have seen Kevin O'Connor getting the same picks from the Ringer. So it's not the craziest idea. He has the build, the body. Now, the guy that I would have got here is the guy that I'm going to get next because he's on the board, and I think he's a perfect fit for the Golden State Warriors, who are in win now time. They got 2 lottery picks, and we'll see if they move them around. But Scottie Barnes. Give me Scottie Barnes, the 6'9" freshman out of FSU. You see his stats aren't too crazy, but that was a really good team, and he was playing a little point guard at certain times, actually a lot of times. He makes the right plays defensively. He just has a body on him. He's got very long length. He's shown the ability to guard guards full court as he was doing that in the NCAA tournament. He has even some comparisons with Draymond Green. So if Draymond can like mentor him, he's got a 7'2" wingspan. My thing is he just improves as a kind of making the right playmaker that I've seen him develop. We've been watching him since Geico Nationals, him as a sophomore. And for him to go to Mount Verde and play with Cade Cunningham, he really showed that he can be your perfect role guy that can do a little bit of everything. He can play make, as we mentioned. He defends all positions. He guards people full court. And this is him handling full court ball pressure. He will dunk on you. He's fiery, feisty competitor. And he gives it his all in the court. So I love him as a winner. I love him as a fit for the Golden State Warriors. Give me Scottie Barnes.
Yeah, no, I like Scottie. I think overall he's one of the most solid prospects. And we talk about a lot about football, for basketball, he has a very safe floor. Like, I think he'll be in the league for a long time because what he can do is he's going to defend. I think he can turn into a 3-and-D guy. Like, hey, if you're spot up, you're here. I think he's going to make his money in the league defensively, and then offensively he'll come. Like, it's going to come for him. Like, hey, what can you do? I think he's timid sometimes in the games when I've watched him play, that I've scouted him and kind of looked at him and just watched him in the tournament. I think he can kind of go away, right? But that's why the Warriors would be a great fit. He doesn't have to be the guy. Like he does for Scottie. For Scottie to be successful and put in the best spot, he needs a team like the Warriors where he can just be that guy and just step in. Hey, what role you need me to go? Okay, this is my role. I'm going to guard the best player. I'm going to guard the 3 guy. I'm going to make sure that I hit this corner 3. I'm going to play defense. So I like Scottie. I think this is a very good spot for him. I think if he goes any higher, the only thing I worry about with Scottie is that expectations will exceed what he's going to be able to do on the court the first couple of years, and that could hurt him.
And Scottie doesn't know how to shoot. That's the only problem. He's got a slow release, and you want to be able to catch and shoot, but he does make the right pass, and it shoots in there. So, but if he's on the board here at 7, you got to take Scottie Barnes.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go to the Magic now. Again, they have the 108. So we look here, as we talked about already, where they finished and what they went at. So there's a lot of different directions they're going to go here. So I looked at it based on what Coach drafted. He got Kuminga there. And I took a look at the board, and I think there's a kid that I think can definitely go here, and that's Franz Wagner from Michigan, 6'9", 220, 12, 6, and 3 in college. When I watch Franz, and he's sneaky athletic, and it's funny to say that about a white power forward that can pretty small forward, power forward. But I think where he's going to make his money in the league is shooting. And he can pass, and he has that ability, but he's an elite shooter. He's going to shoot over 80% from the free throw line. He's an elite 3-point shooter, and that's where he's going to make his money in the league. And so I think it fits the Magic well because they need shooting, like I talked about. Like, they have to find some shooting somewhere. And he's sneaky good playmaker. He does attack pretty well. I don't necessarily know how his skills are going to translate like his attacking ability in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that against certain players and defenses, but he's going to find the league. He's going to find a spot in the league. I would say that this is where those other tiers start breaking up. Is like, who are you going to grab here? I could have went Moses. I could have went James Bouknight maybe, but I thought that was a little early. So when I'm looking at what Franz can bring to the game, I think he's still young, as we talked about. He's a German player, so he's going to have that little bit of that attitude, European flavor. I like him. I like his shooting touch. I like his mid-range. I don't think he's going to be an elite defender, but he can stay there and he'll find his man and go there. So my pick is Franz. What do you think about
that? Franz Wagner. A little worried about him. He might be the guy that we look back and say bust. I mean, I know you have ideas on maybe Kuminga might be that guy. And hey, maybe you hit on one of these two players. 6'9", 220 is really good size, especially if you can hit that three. His percentage wasn't too impressive this past year, 34 from the three-point line, but you can see his stroke is accurate. He shoots 84 from the free throw line. So I think that eventually, with more time, that he could be a really good spot-up three-point shooter and maybe provide a roster spot in the starting lineup on a good team. 1 block a game, 1.3 steals a game. So his defense isn't slug. He's a little slew-footed, but I like it. He cuts back door. He shows strong sides of IQ on kind of just knowing where to be on the basketball court. That kind of opens up that free space. And his length is impressive. So I'm not mad at Franz Wagner. I can see him going in the top 10. And if I'm Orlando, maybe you don't hit on Kuminga, maybe you hit on Wagner, or vice versa. You get two versatile big players.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, at this point, you're looking for, I think, depth. And, hey, can this guy step in, be a nice rotational guy, and then maybe have the expectations and maybe start at certain points. But I think he fits the NBA, so that's where I'm going there. And I let you have my Kings pick, so you go ahead and let me down on who we're going to take.
All right, so since they haven't done well at drafting in their position, I'm going to try my hand at it. Team that we can't get into the playoffs, 31-41 finish. They come up, they win 4 in a row, they lose 6. Every time they take 2 steps forward, they take 3 steps backward. I mean, you do have De'Aaron Fox, who's averaging 25 per game. You've seen him develop every single year. Probably our fastest guy with the basketball going up and down the court. So who do we pair him with? We got to have somebody that can also isolate and score. So I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson, the freshman out of Duke that ended his season early, kind of like a me guy. Maybe this has something to do with Coach K wanting to step away. But what I really like about the 6'9", 220 combo, like forward guard, is he rebounds well, but he's got moves. He's got wiggle. He's good in transition, which a lot of players are good in transition in this draft. He isn't the smartest basketball player, but because of his offensive ability as far as putting the ball on the floor and score, he shows potential that he could really grow into the NBA. I mean, we saw Ingram. It took him a little while. Jason Tatum was really good his rookie year, but he's kind of has similar abilities. I'm not saying he's close to either one of those guys, but his ability to shoot off the pass, but it really off the dribble. He's good in the screen action. Like when he's setting the screen, he's really good at diving or popping out. I think that he is a potential, much like Keon Johnson. These guys could be really good players, or they might fall out. And I know your opinion on him. You're a Duke fan. You're a Sacramento Kings fan. So does this make you happy? Kev?
Well, no, because the last time we took a Duke player in the draft,
who was that guy?
Yeah, I didn't want Bagley, and I wanted Doncic. I was pounding the table,
okay.
And instead we took Bagley. So we don't have a lot of track record taking Duke guys. The thing about Johnson, I liked him coming in. It's just he hasn't played that much his senior year. Remember, he had the transfer stuff going on of high school, so he didn't get out there. Last year, he left early. all you hear is kind of head case thing. And I don't know them, so I can't judge kids by this. They're young kids. But you want to see them come in there. The Kings have been looking for a small forward, I feel like, for their whole lives since Peja left. And we have different pieces on that team. I think he'd be a good compliment. If he could figure out, great. I probably would have maybe leaned Moses Moody. I think his ceiling is a little lower than Johnson because I think Johnson's more talented. But I like what Moody brings to the game as a Kings fan. But I understand this pick.
He's a safer pick. I agree with you, and I think that he's going to be a really good pro as a 3-and-D guy. So I understand why you kind of want to go with Moody, especially to complement playmakers such as Fox and Halliburton.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter because we have Luke Walton as the head coach, so it doesn't matter because he's terrible. We need to fire Luke Walton now, but he's coming back. So
they said they're bringing him back.
Bringing him back. All right, let's move on from Kings talk because I'm going to lose my mind. So we had the New Orleans Pelicans. The 110 2020 finish was 31-41. The moving on from Stan Van Gundy, thank God, because Stan Van Gundy is one of the most overrated coaches. I dropped it on a podcast a couple months ago, and hey, there he goes. He's out of here. So with this pick, I actually think it's Davion Mitchell from Baylor, national champion. I like him, 6'2", 200, 14
Love
points.
Him.
2 rebounds, 5.5 assists. I think he's the perfect complement to that team that they're trying to build. With him and Zion there, Brandon Ingram, they really need a point guard. And when you're watching what they're out there doing and with their inability to kind of bring the ball up, having that playmaker from that position, I know Lonzo was there, but when we talk about Lonzo, he probably won't be there. But he wasn't this type of player. Like, he's going to be able to be a scorer. You'll see him here. He's going to be able to spot up. He needs to work on his free throw shooting, but his ability to drive, he opens up the game. And I think with Mitchell, it's going to open up the floor for the Pelicans. It opens up Brandon Ingram. It's going to open up Zion. And I think it's a good core. Like, I really like what they would be able to build around these guys. And so give me Mitchell at the spot. And you saw him. He played very well in the tournament. And you watched what he did here and his ability to kind of create for himself. You'll see that here, his spot up ability. Like, I love what Mitchell brings. I think this is a smash pick at the 110 if he's on the board, especially for what they're trying to do in New Orleans.
And I'm going to spend some time on this guy because I just love Davion Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's brother, yes, he's got it in his genes. I think that there's some sharing of secrets. Nickname Off Night because his guards that play against him have off nights frequently. I mean, he was the Naismith Player of the Year, and to do that as a guard is just simply incredible. He's in your chest. He'll guard you full court. He's very physical. Yes, it says 6'2", but if you've seen Donovan play, they play bigger than their size. I know he can guard players bigger than him. His 3-point percentage is the most impressive thing, and it's seen him go from almost not being talked about as a future second-round pick from last year. Looking at this year, he is a senior, so he's ready to play right now, to all the way up to some people even have him number 7. Number 6, he is that damn good, and I think he's a guarantee. I think he's a great fit with the Pels. You have a defensive-minded guard that can go out there and battle with the Zion. But his 3-point percentage to go from 32% to 45% from 3, you're in the lab. You're working because that was a critique he had. But his ability to shake and kind of create some separation, go to the cup, to play with other guards as he did with Jared Butler, and to win the national championship, you have a champion. We've seen how some of these Villanova players, after winning their championships, have done in the league. I really like Davion Mitchell. I like the fit here, but I think he can play on a lot of teams, even like the Warriors could look at him. But so I love your pick there. The Pelicans and the Hornets, you get them confused a little bit, but now I think that you have a new face in LaMelo Ball. And you're looking at the hottest tickets as far as we want to see you guys on television. So give me Moses Moody, our 3-and-D guarantee guy. So look at that. As a freshman, he averaged 17 points a game, 6 rebounds. He's 6'6", 205. He comes from winning pedigree. He was also on that Mount Vert team with Scottie Barnes and Cade Cunningham, and he just fit his role perfectly. I can just see him complimenting not only LaMelo, but the other pieces that they have surrounding him. He can play with Gordon Hayward. He knows the right spots. He's a physical kid. Spotting up, though, this is something that I really almost didn't see as much for Malvern, but he can really shoot it, and he shoots it from deep. It's not just right there at the line shooter. He can catch in 2-3 feet behind that college line. He's catch, so I can see that translating into the NBA right away. A safe pick. He doesn't have the greatest like one-on-one isolation move, but like you don't need that. The league needs 3-and-D guys like a Sadiq Bey, and he is going to come in and he should start with the Hornets by the end of the year, and you can fit him with so many different lineups. I love Moses, and I love the way he parts the Red Sea, but you can see what a good player he is because he took Arkansas the furthest they've been almost ever since I can remember. So give me the 17-point freshman scorer and Moses Moody.
I like Moody. When we talked about in the coach's corner, I really liked him. I think that his stock will go up as the draft goes because I think that the league needs people that like him. I think defensively, he's one of the best defenders in this league or in this draft, excuse me. So he's going to have that. I think he's a very good compliment around LaMelo, right? Like when you're looking at what LaMelo can do, I think that's a very good compliment pick. And that's kind of how I would go too. Like I got really nothing to say to that because I love Moody. I think that he's a very, very good basketball player. So the next pick, which is kind of weird to see, is our San Antonio Spurs are in the lottery at the 112. And, San Antonio has a lot of issues that they're going to have to try to figure out here. They're going to be moving on from some guys, kind of rebuilding. But we know Pop, he's never going to just completely rebuild. So I was looking at the board. There's a lot of European and other players on this board, and I figured probably the Spurs might go that. But I went a little bit different here. I took James Bouknight from UConn. And the reason why, just to be fair, real quick, so everybody knows why I did it. One reason is because he can score. So when you're looking at what he can do and what he can bring to the table is that he's going to be able to score the basketball and he's going to be able to actually legitimately give them buckets, which they need. He averaged 18, 5, and 1 in college. He can just score. He's going to be a three-point shooter. He's not bad defensively. He's got some length, so he's able to fill lanes pretty well. But the biggest thing is he's got good handles. He doesn't do anything crazy defensively. He's not an amazing passer. Let's be honest. He averaged 1 assist, so he's not passing the ball. But James Bouknight can score the basket, and they need shooting. San Antonio needs shooting. They need that ability to come off the bench. They need that high volume guy. I don't necessarily know if Bouknight's going to ever start. But he can be a 6-man, gives them that change of speed that they need off the bench that we've seen that teams need. We talked about it. So I like him. His ability to kind of finish in between. He's got good handles. He's very active. His 3-point shooting, 35 to 37%, somewhere around there. His free throw percentage is like 80 to 85. He's going to be an 80% free throw shooter. So give me the high volume scorer for the Spurs because they need that.
And you hit it on the head. Just a pure scorer of the basketball. You see that release. Him in transition is beautiful. He gets up and down the court. He's got some pat. He got some move. He's working over there with Chris Brinkley, and I love anybody that's working out with Brinkley. And he says really high praises about this kid. He's been rising up the board since I guess mock draft and since at the end of the NCAA tournament, as he didn't have a great showing against Maryland. Daryl Marcel kind of locked him up with his physicality. I think as he gets older, you can't teach some of the moves that he has, and he's going to be very, very, very hard to stay in front of. And I can see someone falling in love with him in an earlier position. But he's kind of the one guy that I don't exactly know where to slate him. I think that when it gets closer to the draft, agents are going to get the intel on the teams that really, really like this kid. And I think someone's going to fall in love with him. But he could go anywhere from 7 to 18, depending on how that turns out. The Spurs do have a lot of younger guards. But, you might just be looking at best player available here in James Bouknight. And I wouldn't be mad at that pick. And yeah, they'll probably be moving along from DeMar DeRozan. You can kind of see that coming to an end. So maybe another guy that can kind of play that position and maybe come off the bench to start, develop him, and then he could be, potentially a really good scorer either off the bench or starting for you. So James Bouknight, he's got all the moves, and I think that he just looks like a little ass kid, but I think that he's got game. He's got some real game. So we're going to go from James Bouknight to somebody that I think is a guarantee. Yes, I said it. Corey Kispert, the guy that is a senior. He averaged 19 a game for the Indiana Pacers, wouldn't it just be perfect that we see this the white guy shooter go for the Indiana Pacers? But 19 a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, great size at 6'7", 220. I loved how he played all year long, and he was. I know Jalen Suggs was kind of the leader, but this guy was the guy, the go-to guy. He gave you buckets all over the place. Oh my God, his release is so quick and so pure. That's one thing that I love. Like you set a down screen, he can pop out and hit that shot. He bangs with you a little bit in the post, but look at that catch and shoot. That's the defender. Read the scouting report. They got 2 hands in the face, and he still bucks. His shooting percentages of 53, 44 from deep, and 89 from the line. That's unheard of. That's next level scoring. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for in the NBA. If he can defend a little bit, he's got a roster spot, and he should start on teams. Of course, the comparison to Joe Harris is very notable because of his catch and shoot abilities. But I mean, in a white guy, a small forward, but at the same time, like you could see it. Look at that release. I mean, you cannot teach someone to quicken their release. And a lot of these guys have slow releases playing this position. You want a certified bucket getter. You want a player that you can kind of go in and put in right away. Give me Corey Kispert, and with LeVert, with Malcolm Brogdon, I think that he's a really good fit here. We saw what Doug McDermott was doing this year with all the injuries going along. I think that he's a perfect fit for the Indiana Pacers.
I think he is too. He can shoot. I think he's the oldest guy in this draft, probably, right? Like, he's a senior. He's going to be coming in. Like, I think potentially wise, like when you draft him, his ceiling's probably done. Like, this is who he is, but that's okay at the 14th, 13th, 15th pick. Like, who he is. He's going to come off the bench. He's going to shoot threes, and he's just going to get buckets that way. And that's okay. Like, that's all right. And he's got a little attitude to him. I like that.
He does got a flair, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a flair, and that's what you're kind of looking for at this back end of the draft. So that's kind of how I looked at. Now, I have one last pick, and I just want to be clear that I think the Warriors are going to trade this pick, and they're probably going to trade their other pick. So don't come after me when I make this pick. But if they are on the board and they're looking at it from a perspective of like, hey, who should we take? Where's the upside at? I'm taking young Josh Giddey from Australia. International team, 10, 6, and 6 is what he averaged down there. And the reason why I say this, and just to be completely clear, is I think that they made a huge mistake last year. They made a huge mistake not drafting LaMelo Ball. And I think that when they could have hit it instead of Wiseman, now they bring in maybe this kid, Giddey, who's a very seasoned guy down there and playing in a pro league, who could be that off-ball guy that Steph maybe needs that he can work with here with Clay coming back, Draymond there. I actually like his talent, and he's creating against grown men. So that's the other thing when you watch this tape. Remember, we worried about this with like Luka and all these different guys. Like, he's playing against dudes that are older than him. Some are 10 years older than him down there in that league. He's he can finish. He's very good at attacking the rim. He's very good passer. He's a solid prospect. And he's one of these international guys that can come in here and make a little bit of a difference. And you'll notice him, a split. And I think his vision and his passing kind of sets him apart. So if the Warriors do stay at this pick, I could see them going this route. Now, let's say they did, like when Coach picked, I believe it was Scottie, right? So when you have Scottie go there, and then you have Giddey come in, you can have 2 very good, solid pieces and depth pieces for that Western Conference that maybe could do something. And now, I think the Warriors make a move, but if they don't, I could see them maybe going outside the box here and taking this young kid.
All right, I'm going to get a little giddy talking about the top international prospect for most people's accord, and a 6'8", 205 point guard. That's just great size, and those numbers actually they improved a little bit more than from when we first grabbed it. He led that league in assists, 7.4. So he's a potentially a walking triple double at the next level. I don't know if he fits with the Warriors, but I see him going in that top 15. So I understand this pick. Nico Mannion looks like he may be ready to step in and play a little bit more backup point guard, as he has similar abilities, but he plays with a patience and an IQ that is rare. Some people see plays before they happen, and Josh Giddey definitely does that. His biggest question mark here, and it was the same for Ricky Rubio, is the shooting.
Yeah.
He's got a slow release. He can make it when teams what I was watching is teams would go under those screens and he make them pay a little bit on that as far as that's concerned. But he's all over the court, and he could developmentally be a really good piece to either be a starting point guard or a backup point guard. And with his size, if you're in a position to take a gamble, I would pick this kid. I think that if they keep this pick, say they get Scottie, if I'm the Warriors, I take a hard look at Zaire Williams because I just think he fits in with those players well, and he can really shoot the ball, and he has size. But Coach mentioned before, the Warriors are looking to win right now, and I could easily see them making a trade, maybe get a superstar. They have all the pieces to now kind of take a look and trade for Brad Beal. We'll see what the Warriors end up doing here. Maybe it's not Brad Beal, maybe it's another young star, but they got Wiseman, they got these two lottery picks, and then you got a Wiggins contract that even though Wiggins had a good year last year, they're willing to part ways if they can get somebody that can help them win next year. If I'm someone else in the league, I'm scared of the Warriors, and maybe they make their return. We see what Steph Curry is playing his best basketball that I've ever seen him play. But yeah, Josh Giddey, we got to get some international love in here as well. So I am not mad at that pick. Now, we have broken down a lot of these prospects even to a further degree on our Coach's Corner. We have matchups. Our Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham versus Cade Cunningham has done the best. And we kind of pick our sides. Kevin likes Jalen Green. I like Cade Cunningham. We kind of both like them, but we kind of make our picks based on that. And we're actually looking to do some more videos before the NBA draft. So you like what you saw here on the mock draft 1.0, hit that subscribe button. Tell us some prospects that you would like us to verse. But we will also mock out the rest of the draft in a future episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Coach James Lewis.
I'm Coach Coleman.
And we will see you next time.